I was 28 years old the third time my parents forgot my birthday. Not missed it by a day. Not called late because of a work emergency. No, they completely forgot. Again. I sat alone at a restaurant table I'd reserved 2 weeks in advance. 3 empty chairs staring back at me like an accusation. The candles on the cake I bought myself burned quietly until they dripped into icing no one would taste. Not a single call, not a text, just silence, heavy and loud. My name is Venessa, and for most of my life, I was the invisible daughter. I wasn't the one who got the princess-themed birthdays or the Instagram-worthy surprises. That was always Emma, my younger sister, the golden child, the favorite. While she bathed in glitter and gifts, I waited by doors that never opened and answered phones that never rang. But this year, something shifted. This year, the candles didn't just melt. Something inside me did too. And when it hardened again, it came back sharper. They thought I'd just take it again. The silence, the rejection, the emotional breadcrumbing. But not this time. This time, I was going to show them exactly what happens when the forgotten daughter decides she's done being invisible. And by the end of it, they wouldn't be able to forget me even if they tried. I used to tell myself it wasn't personal. When I was 10, Emma got a birthday party at Disneyland. Balloons, fireworks, a 3-tiered princess cake with edible glitter. She twirled in a sparkly dress as photographers followed her like she was royalty. 3 months later, my birthday came. I waited. All day. No decorations, no cake, not even a mention. That night, when I finally worked up the courage to ask my mom if they had forgotten, she blinked at me like I'd asked her for the moon. "Oh, honey," she said, brushing past me. "You understand. We've just been so busy with Emma's auditions." That was always the phrase. You understand. It became their mantra, code for Emma comes first. And over time, I learned to play along. I kept my voice low, my expectations lower. While Emma took private vocal lessons, I worked part-time jobs to afford my own textbooks. While she posted selfies in designer clothes my parents bought her, I walked home in the rain because Mom forgot to pick me up. When Emma turned 18, they handed her keys to a brand new convertible wrapped in a red ribbon. On my 18th, a card. Handwritten. No cake, no dinner, no celebration. Just a card that said, "We know you'll make us proud. You always do." I threw it away that same night. It was always like that. Every success I earned was silent. Every milestone swallowed in their apathy. Emma failed a math quiz. They called in a tutor. I aced my AP exams. They never even asked how it went. She got a cold. They stayed up all night. I had my wisdom teeth removed alone, took the bus home groggy and bleeding. And through it all, I convinced myself it didn't hurt. That being invisible was safer than being seen and ignored. But even when you teach yourself not to hope, some small part of you always does. Every year I thought, maybe this year, maybe they'll remember, maybe they'll care. Every year I was wrong. The worst was my 25th. I'd cooked dinner from scratch, cleaned my tiny apartment until it sparkled, and set the table for 4. My parents, Emma, me, just us. Intimate, simple. I wanted to feel like a family again, even just for one night. I waited for hours. No one came. At 10 p.m., my phone finally rang. It was Mom, laughing. "Sorry, sweetheart. Emma's live stream just hit 100,000 views. We couldn't pull away. We're so proud. Can we reschedule?" I stared at the untouched food, my heart folding in on itself like a dying star. That night, for the first time, I let myself say it aloud in the mirror. They don't care, not about me. I was the placeholder, the backup, the dependable one who didn't need attention, the one who never caused trouble, who could be left on the shelf without complaint. The ghost child. And for most of my life, I believed that meant I had to earn their love by being useful. But love that needs earning isn't love. It's leverage, and I was done being collateral. The day after my 28th birthday, I promised myself I'd move on. I wouldn't let their absence swallow me whole again. I had work to do, bills to pay, a life to live. I lit a candle in my apartment, brewed some tea, and told myself I was okay. Then the email came. It was from my mother. The subject line was cold and impersonal. Emma's yacht party invoice. Please review. There was no greeting, No acknowledgement that they'd missed my birthday the day before. No apology, just a PDF attachment. I opened it, already feeling something tighten in my chest. Total, $8,600. Your share, $4,300. Please Venmo ASAP. Thanks. I stared at the numbers, numb at first, then furious. They couldn't spare 10 minutes for my birthday, not even a text. But now they wanted over $4,000 so Emma could host her influencer friends on a yacht? Like I was some kind of ATM with no PIN code, just ready to spit out whatever they needed? My hands trembled as I opened Venmo. I typed in exactly $1. In the notes section, I wrote, "I'm not on board." Then I sat in silence. But not for long. That strange, calm anger, the kind that makes everything crystal clear, began to take over. I opened my laptop, logged into every account I knew they used. Netflix, Spotify, Amazon Prime, HBO, even the family calendar I paid for each year without question. One by one, I revoked access. Emma's iPhone disappeared from my Spotify premium plan. Mom's smart TV got kicked off Netflix. Dad's tablet got removed from Amazon Prime. They'd built their comfort on my silence. Their streaming habits, their credit cards, even their vacations had my name quietly sitting behind them, paying the cost. No more. Then came the real weight, the credit cards. They were in my name, used by them. Every brunch, every shopping trip, every spa day Emma casually tagged on social media had been quietly covered by me. Not once did they ask permission. Not once did they say thank you. So I opened my banking app and started freezing them. One by one. It felt like tearing pages out of a book I'd never agreed to write. 2 days later, my phone rang. Unknown number. "Miss Venessa Carter?" a voice asked. "This is Rachel from your bank's fraud department. Your parents have reported multiple unauthorized changes to several accounts. They're claiming identity fraud." I almost laughed. Fraud? "No," I said. "Not fraud. Correction." Silence on the other end. "Ma'am, do you recognize the charges and the access changes?" "I authorized every single one," I said. "And if they're panicking, tell them it's a surprise." I hung up before she could respond. It wasn't the reaction of someone being spiteful. I wasn't yelling. I wasn't crying. I was finally drawing a boundary. One they should have respected years ago. They hadn't just forgotten me. They'd drained me, emotionally, financially, systematically. They'd never celebrated my milestones, but they never missed a chance to charge brunch on my card. My phone buzzed relentlessly. Texts from Mom, from Emma, even Dad. Messages stacked on top of each other like a tidal wave of guilt and gaslighting. "Emma, you're being so immature. It's just money." Mom, "This is childish, Venessa. Call me right now." Dad, "You're disappointing all of us. Fix this mess." For once, I didn't feel guilty, because I finally saw it. They weren't worried about me. They weren't scared because I'd gone off the rails. They were scared because the ride had stopped, the one where I quietly funded their fantasy while being written out of the family narrative. That day, I typed one final message into the group chat. Just one line. "The invisible ATM is officially out of service. Enjoy your reality." Then I blocked them all. It wasn't rage, it was relief. And for the first time in my life, I felt like I wasn't reacting. I was responding, with clarity, with truth, and with the full awareness that this time, they wouldn't be able to twist it into something ugly and turn it against me. They wanted to erase me. Now they'd learn exactly how it feels when the one they've erased decides to become unforgettable. I didn't post out of spite. I posted out of necessity. There was no screaming match, no last-ditch phone call begging them to explain. I knew better than to expect remorse. I'd spent years swallowing my pride, pretending I wasn't hurt. But now I wanted truth. Not for them, God, no, but for me. I needed to put it somewhere. So I logged into my Facebook, a platform I hadn't touched in months, and I began to write. For anyone curious about the chaos my family is causing this week, here's a little clarity. I wrote plainly, calmly, like I was filing a report, not exposing a legacy. I talked about the missed birthdays, the forgotten dinners, the invoices, the thousands of dollars that left my account without thanks or acknowledgement. I included screenshots of my mom's yacht party invoice, of the Venmo message I sent, of the bank statement with their names attached to my cards. I didn't embellish. I didn't attack. I just told the truth. And that truth spread like wildfire. Within hours, the post was shared by old classmates, coworkers, even distant cousins I hadn't spoken to in years. The comments poured in. "Venessa, I had no idea. You've always been so quiet. You're brave for telling this. I relate so much it hurts. They treated you like a wallet. You were never invisible to us." It felt like oxygen, like finally breaking through the surface after drowning for years. But while I was breathing, Emma was suffocating. Her yacht party had gone ahead without me. She'd spent weeks promoting it online. Private chef, luxury yacht, champagne bar. Her followers were eating it up, but the reality without my support was brutal. Vendors pulled out, credit cards declined. What was supposed to be a glamorous influencer event turned into a cramped rental boat with lukewarm takeout and cheap wine. Photos surfaced online. Plastic chairs, paper plates, people whispering, confused. The hashtags started trending within the hour. #yacht disaster, #influencer fail, #fraud party. Emma's face was everywhere, and none of it was filtered. That night, my phone lit up with dozens of messages from blocked numbers. I didn't read them. I didn't need to. I already knew the script. "How could you do this? You embarrassed us. Fix it. You've ruined everything." Then one message came through, from an unknown number, but I recognized the tone instantly. "Venessa, fix this right now. You are humiliating your sister and this family. This is beyond petty." "Mom." I didn't reply right away. I reread it several times, letting the rage roll through me like a slow tide. Humiliation? She cared about that? Not the decades of dismissal, not the years of quiet theft, but the fact that now, finally, the truth was public? I typed one line and hit send. "Maybe check your email. Looks like you forgot another important date." I imagined the cold silence that followed. The email she must have opened with my screenshots, the receipts, the cards, the messages, all the things I'd held back, all the things I used to protect them from. But now I wanted them to feel it. I didn't want revenge. I wanted balance. And their panic was the most honest thing they'd ever given me. Meanwhile, my inbox flooded with people I hadn't heard from in years. Friends from school, coworkers, neighbors. They all said the same thing. "You didn't deserve that. We see you now." One message stood out. My aunt, Dad's sister. We weren't close, but she'd always been kind in passing. "Venessa," she wrote, "I always knew something was off. They praised Emma constantly, but never mentioned you. I should have said something sooner. I'm sorry." I stared at her words for a long time, then typed, "You noticed? That's enough. Thank you." It was the first time in my life someone from my family had acknowledged the pattern, and it cracked something open inside me. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't overly sensitive. I wasn't making it up. I'd just spent my life surrounded by people too comfortable to admit they were wrong. For the first time, I felt solid, rooted, seen. And Emma? She was unraveling. Her follower count dropped by thousands. Brands started pulling back on collaborations. She posted a half-hearted apology video that only made things worse. You could tell it wasn't regret. It was damage control. Then a new message popped up, this time from her directly. It was short. "Look, I didn't know how bad it was. I'm sorry, okay? Just, can we talk?" No deflection, no emojis, just 5 words that sounded almost real. I stared at it for a long time. Then I remembered my 25th birthday. The untouched dinner, the phone call, the sound of Mom laughing as she told me Emma's livestream went viral. I remembered the look on Emma's face every time she used my card and never said thank you. I remembered everything, and I typed just one word, "No." Then I blocked her again. Not because I was angry, but because I was finally clear. I thought the silence would be satisfying. It wasn't. Not at first. When I blocked them all, Emma, Mom, even Dad, I expected peace. Instead, What came first was stillness, that strange, unfamiliar quiet after a storm. My apartment was calm, but my body was still bracing for the next emotional hit, like a soldier waiting for an ambush that never comes. Then the phone rang again. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something told me to pick up. Miss Carter? The voice was calm. Corporate. This is Lauren from Pacific National Bank's Fraud Division. Your parents, Anna and Richard Carter, have filed a report alleging fraudulent activity on several shared accounts. I didn't flinch. Of course they had. Let's call it what it was. Desperation dressed up in legal jargon. They're claiming the accounts were misused, she continued, and that your actions were unauthorized and malicious. I almost laughed. I see. Let's go over a few details, shall we? I pulled up the documents I'd quietly saved over the years. Statements, account owner names, screenshots of the cards, the subscription plans, the payments, all in my name, my money, my responsibility. Lauren, I said, whose name is on the Netflix, Spotify, and Amazon Prime accounts? A pause, typing. Yours. And the family credit cards? Also under your name, Miss Carter. And who paid those balances every month? You did. Silence. Heavy, conclusive. So, I said, does this still sound like fraud? No, she admitted. It doesn't. Good. Now please inform my parents that if they continue making false allegations, I'll pursue legal action, and kindly remind them that lying to a financial institution is a crime. Thank you. Lauren cleared her throat. Understood. I'll mark this as a family dispute and close the fraud investigation. And for the record, I hope you're okay. I smiled softly. For the first time in a long while, I am. I hung up and sat there, watching sunlight spill across my floor like it was the first time I'd seen it. The weight in my chest, the one I'd carried for years, finally began to shift, not from guilt, but from release. A few hours later, a voicemail came in. My mother again. Her voice was sharp, cold. How dare you threaten us, Venessa, after everything we've done for you? Everything? What exactly did they believe they'd done? Abandon me on birthdays? Use my credit to prop up their fantasy life? Call me selfish when I finally said no? They mistook survival for loyalty, silence for forgiveness. And now they couldn't tell the difference. I deleted the voicemail without listening to the rest. Then came Emma. Again. Mom and Dad are freaking out. I didn't think you'd fight back. Honestly, none of us did. Can't we just talk? I stared at her message. She wasn't sorry for the years she ignored me. She was sorry that I finally had the nerve to respond. My reply was simple. One word, no. And I blocked her, not out of vengeance, but clarity. They weren't reaching out to make amends. They were reaching out to regain control. That was the moment I realized something essential. I had never really known what peace looked like because I'd mistaken proximity for love. But now, in their absence, I felt more whole than I ever did in their presence. The final block was for my father. The man who'd never raised his voice, never openly chose sides, never stepped in. His betrayal was quiet, but just as sharp. Because when you watch injustice and say nothing, you choose the side of the oppressor. I blocked him, too. And just like that, I was free. No more waiting for love that never came. No more explaining myself to people who never listened. No more hoping that maybe this year they'd remember me. Now, I remembered myself. On the night of my 29th birthday, there were no yachts, no catered meals, no designer centerpieces posted for strangers to admire. Just my small apartment, dim fairy lights, mismatched chairs, and people who showed up because they wanted to, not because they had something to gain. Mariah, my loud, loyal coworker turned best friend, brought a homemade cake that leaned slightly to one side. Jared, my neighbor, showed up with lasagna that had burnt edges and way too much cheese. Leah, my old college roommate, brought cupcakes with messy frosting and even messier hugs. It was perfect. We sat around the table, laughing, eating, sharing stories, not pretending, not performing, just existing, together. When the candles flickered, Mariah nudged me. "Make a good wish, Venessa. You deserve it." I closed my eyes, and for the first time, I didn't wish for them to remember me. I didn't wish for reconciliation. I didn't even wish for revenge. I just whispered thank you to the version of me who waited so long for love that never came, and finally realized she didn't need to wait anymore. Later, after everyone left, I sat by the window with a blanket and a cup of tea. No chaos, no guilt, no phones buzzing with demands, just stillness. Mine. And for the first time, I didn't feel invisible. I felt chosen by myself.